Today, I am advising viewer discretion due to the topic of this video, the loss and grieving for a child. Welcome to the Averills of Chipping Norton, Ipswich and Beyond video number 14, Silas Averill, the quiet void he left behind. Silas Averill was born May 1st, 1679 to William and Hannah Averill into the established steady rhythm of family life at Topsfield. He survived the most fragile years, those perilous months when so many infants never reached their first birthday. Survival began to feel like promise, and Silas would have been counted on. In a family like the Averills, every child mattered. Childhood blurred quickly into usefulness. The hands of boys eventually grew to tend the fields, the saw pit, the barn, the endless repairs of fences and tools. By 7 or 8, Silas likely carried water, gathered kindling, and chased stray hens. By 10 or 11, he may have driven oxen, hauled boards, or followed his father and older brothers to whatever chore the day demanded. His place in the household was already forming, cementing a future for the family. Perhaps Hannah had begun to envision another strong son who would have children of his own someday. And then, silence. We don't know how 10-year-old Silas died. Was it illness or accident? Illness could come swiftly. A fever, infection, a winter cough that worsened overnight, a fall, a farm accident. Colonial families lived close to danger every single day. What we do know is this. When William Averill wrote his will in 1691, Silas was gone from the names that were mentioned, and he was not counted. And for Hannah, the mother who had carried him, nursed him, watched him survive infancy when so many children did not, the grief would have been sharper than any record could ever show. Colonial women buried children far too often, yet each loss cut fresh. There was no such thing as getting used to it. She might still have felt Silas in the daily rhythms, setting out bowls and realizing she needed fewer, washing clothes and finding fewer shirts to mend, and most important, realizing with a heavy heart at the break of every day that her little boy was no longer. Life did not pause for mourning. Cows still needed milking, bread still needed baking, wood still needed cutting, but grief threaded itself quietly through every task, and there was the practical loss too. One less future worker, one less future household, one less line of descendants. In a frontier town, every child represented strength and continuity. Silas's death meant not just sorrow, but a line of descendants stripped from the family's future footprint. Today, he survives only in that absence, the gap between the number of births and the number of children named. The story of Silas reminds us that colonial families were not only made of the ancestors who lived long enough to leave deeds, wills, and signatures, they were also shaped by the children who did not survive to adulthood. And somewhere in the Averill home, for a time, there was an empty space at the fire where a boy named Silas should have been.